Okay.
I know what it is, but I have not watched it at all. No.
I really think you're going to enjoy the quarterback character that they created.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Draft Digest. The sickest NFL draft and scouting podcast. It's gonna be sick.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Sick Podcast Draft Digest. I'm your host, Emily Van Buskirk, alongside my co-host, John Vogel. And today we are joined by another special guest. He is Tim Cramsey, offensive coordinator for the Memphis Tigers. Welcome to the Sick Podcast, Coach Cramsey.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me, man. Anytime I have a chance to get out and talk to people, it's good, man. Take a little break from what we're doing on a daily basis is good. So I'm excited to be on here.
We have a long history together, Coach and I, and he has always been one of my go-to interviewers when I need some good content because he, believe it or not, loves to chatty Cathy over here. And he always has some good insight into the game. So I know John's going to have a lot of questions for you about player-specific stuff. This is a Draft Digest podcast, so we do look at, guys that are going to be in the draft or are draftable players.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured I would start off before I let John have at you. I was going to start off with a little bit of what's going on in the Memphis world right now. Obviously, you guys hit that ranking, number 22. Congratulations on that. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Appreciate that, man. Yes, yeah. It's great to say that. I'm going to give you the coach's answer right now. It's great to say that. It's great to call recruits and talk about that and everything. Mm-hmm. And that shows the work that's been put in from the kids in the program to get to that point. But, the reminder to them obviously is, what you did to get here. It's going to be twice as hard to stay here and twice as hard to move up. So we got here by going one day at a time and putting the work in on it. And that's what we got to stay the course in doing.
Well, you guys have been in a lot of headlines, not even just for that, but also with the changes that are going on in the American. We saw some coaching shakeups happen, USF with a big win, and now people are kind of circling that game on the schedule between you guys in October. So I know you're a guy that kind of keeps your head down. You don't really listen to all that, but is it hard with all the excitement now surrounding Memphis and everybody hyped up to keep these kids focused, especially, when you're focusing on the task at hand as opposed to looking ahead to that USF game?
I'm not going to go ahead and say it's hard. Our guys it's a very mature team. What I'm most impressed at with this team is we have 70 some new guys on the team.
Yeah.
To get them all bought into Coach Silverfield's culture as quickly as we have and as quickly as they've allowed themselves to do is pretty amazing to watch. So we got a bunch of guys who, trust me, they're on social media. They see it, they hear it, they read it. We as coaches, I know a couple coaches on staff. I'm off of Twitter or X, whatever it is.
You're pretty good on Instagram, though. I have to say,
Instagram and Facebook are a little different. Those are good people. Those are people who have nice things to say, who I can choose who I'm friends with.
Okay.
Twitter is a bunch of people who I don't have to be friends with, and they have a platform and all that good stuff.
Yes.
So, so we're off. That's whole social media is another thing, but I'm off of that. But I know our players aren't. They hear it, and it's just a matter of keeping them focused on a daily basis. But I'm really impressed with the leadership of this team. We have a lot of guys who, we say 70 guys. We have a lot of guys who have been here, who have worked through and seen how it works. And then we've had a lot of guys like even Brendan Lewis, who has come from a program where he has played a lot of football, but he didn't win a lot of football games.
Right.
And now he's in a situation where he's in a program that's in the mix where you want to be and how you want to do it. So he's taking it one day at a time. He's working his tail off, and he's making sure everybody around him does that. And we got a number of guys on the team who have come from, a couple guys from UAB, a couple guys from Charlotte, a couple guys from other places, again, where, winning is dang hard at this level. And they weren't blessed to be a part of something like that. So where we're at right now, they're not letting that situation slip.
Did you say UAB, coach? I mean, you were calling up Trent Dilfer's players after he told you not to?
There was nothing illegal. It was all within
always within the compliance. Always. We talked about Brendan Lewis, you and I, earlier before the season even started, and how he was going to fit into this offense. And you had said, you were very clear early on, it was his job to lose when we had the whole quarterback competition. You do have a good quarterback room, which I think we're seeing now. Having depth at positions like that is important with all the injuries that are happening in this first half of the season. Mm-hmm. So what would you say you've seen progress in Brendan's game so far and where he's at? And how do you feel about the guys behind him?
Brendan's game has improved. What I was concerned of when he came, and I may have mentioned to you, is at Nevada, he was is my first read open, no takeoff run, and let my legs and my athletic ability take care of any other issues. My concern was that he got here, that was going to be the same case. He's done a great job. We've done a great job. Coach Mitch Stewart, who's our true quarterback coach, has done a tremendous job of working with him and getting him to make his reads. Okay, so when he breaks down and when his legs start taking over, it's because read 1, 2, 3, 4 aren't open. It's not because just read 1's not there and I'm taking off. So that's what he's becoming more of. And I made the comment to him, because someone made to me a little bit ago talking about the previous quarterback here, that said, 90% of quarterbacks in college football are running the plays that the coaches call. 10% of quarterbacks at the college level are playing the quarterback position. And they said about the previous guy, that's the guy who played the quarterback position at this level. And that's where we're in the process of getting Brendan to, we call him B-Lou. So that's the process we're getting B-Lou to. And that's what he's really shown me, since week 1 to week wherever we're at right now, the improvement of that, where he's going through his reads and he's going ABC 1, 2, 3. If it's not there, then he's allowing his athletic ability to take over. And then the 2 young guys in the room, Arrington and AJ. Arrington made as a College Station kid. AJ's a Houston County in Georgia kid. Those 2 guys are elite. What I'm impressed most with them is that competition goes on every single day. That competition is going to go on for a long time. At this position, one guy is going to play, but the way those 2 guys prepare, the way those 2 guys pay attention in practice, when B-Lou's in practice, you can see those guys on the back end pointing and asking questions. And, I get in relatively early at work. I come in every day at 6:00. Those 3 guys have beat me here. Wow. They're in the film room watching film prior to me getting here. And that's where Brendan has brought that room to. And that's what Arrington and AJ bring to it. They're football guys. So I'm really excited about that room, and we'll see what happens down the road, but we're just worried about getting through tomorrow's practice right now.
Fair enough.
I'm really glad you brought up Brendan Lewis, Coach, because I liked him a lot back before he was at Nevada when he was at Colorado. It's just, the toolsy type player that he was, the athletic traits. Actually, one of the guys I think that had trained with him in high school that owned a gym out there where he's from, I'm wanting to say it was Texas.
He's a Dallas. He's officially played at Melissa High School, but he's a Dallas, Texas kid. Yeah.
Yep. So we were kind of joking around. Yeah, he's our secret. He's our secret guy. We've been watching for years. But going from the type of quarterback that Seth Hennigan was, and then going to a Brendan Lewis as an offensive coordinator, what kind of changes do you have to make? To make that work better for him, so that Hennigan didn't have the athletic ability, obviously that B-Lou does, but as clearly an NFL quarterback is with the Jaguars right now. Right. How do you kind of make those adjustments and figure out how I'm going to best put this guy in a position to be successful?
Yeah, well, as I told you a little bit ago before the recording started, so I turned 50 last week. All right, I've been
happy belated birthday.
Thank you. I've been a coordinator now. This is year 17 as a coordinator. All right, wow. And one thing I pride myself on, and I learned it at a relatively early age, and that's our early age in my coordinating career. I can't expect my players to match my scheme. My scheme needs to match my players. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to that, I'm talking strictly about that quarterback room. So my wife will disagree, but I've been blessed to be at 7 different schools with 7 different people in 7 different towns. She will disagree 100% with that. But that being said, I went from New Hampshire under, I learned from Chip Kelly up in New Hampshire. So we had a system. We went down to FIU at Mario Cristobal, had the same system. Then I went up to Montana State, and you can't take that system to Montana State. Those are different kids. So you had the ability to learn a different system, a different style quarterback, which kind of carried over slightly to Nevada. Then I went to Sam Houston following Phil Longo. So it was a run and shoot type system. So my point being, I've had every type of quarterback there is. I've had pro style quarterbacks. I've had, athletic quarterbacks. I had guys who ran a lot better than throwing. 2 or 3 times in my career, I've had a true dual threat kid, which is what B. Lou is, which is a guy who throws as well as he runs it. And to me, those are the most dangerous type of players. So it was not a hard transition for me because the system that we run is the scheme is all there, So the plays we're running this year were in the system last year. We just didn't run them as much with Seth, if that makes sense, Yeah. So then you get into, now you got B. Lou in the program, and you got the 2 young guys who are similar quarterbacks to B. Lou. We have it's not a different offense. It's not a different scheme. We didn't go out and add 100 new plays. We're just calling those plays more than what we did in the past. So to me, it's not a hard transition. Although I do appreciate when people say what a great job it is that we're doing here.
No, it is.
It really isn't that hard of a transition. It's just who is your quarterback finding out. And I've said that from the beginning of this season, because it's not just B. Lou. We have X amount of new receivers. The entire tight end room is new. The entire running back, well, I shouldn't say that. Greg and Sut were here, but Sut was out. They're new. The O-line's new. So that was going to be our hardest thing as an offensive staff is, who are these guys when the lights come on Saturdays in the fall, and what can they do? And weeks 1, 2, 3, 4 is what we experimented and learned from. Okay. Now we're at the point where I can tell you what Cortez can do, what Jamari can do, what Bryce Anderson can do, all the way down the line. I know exactly what they can do, exactly what they're capable of doing, exactly what they're not good at. And now we're using those skill sets to maximize on Saturdays.
One of the things that I saw, doing a little bit of research on Memphis, before talking to you, I didn't want to come in here completely uninformed.
Good job. Good work.
Was right now you guys are one of 6 teams in the country that have scored every single time you've been in the red zone. You also have the highest touchdown score rate in the red zone in the country right now. What's been the key factor? Is that something that you guys focus on a lot? Red zone prep, is there something special that you guys do there? Is there, whether it's a package of plays, or is it, the work that you guys do during the week and on the focus on that?
Yeah. Football has turned into a stats game, and you can use a whole lot of stats that to make yourself look good. I believe there's 4 stats that matter in the game of football. I always say the number 1 stat is how many points you score compared to how many points they score. That one stat, that's matters. Okay. Then there's third down, or at this point in this business, cash down success rate. Okay. There's red zone efficiency, red zone touchdown rate is the other big one that we talk about. And then obviously turnover margin. So that's one of the 4 things we focus on. We preach count by 7s, not by 3s. We've been able to have success there because we have the ability to run the ball right now. And you have a big offensive line. You have an athletic offensive line. You have Sutton and Greg. Greg's back being healthy now for the last 3-4 weeks. Sutton's a dynamic player. Frankie comes off after those guys and able to play. And then you add B. Lou to that mix. And you add the threat of Cortez Braham on the outside where, he's shown that it's hard to play man-free coverage in that area of the field. So we've kind of, and we need to stay the course with it, but we've kind of taken away what defenses can do there. They can't put the extra guy in the box because Cortez, you can't put him in single coverage. All right. So now that you can't put Cortez in single coverage, I know I talk a lot, but she warned you. She warned you.
I'm all for it.
He's so excited.
Football is basic math. They only have 11 guys on that side of the ball. So if they have to take 2 out of the box to play over top of Cortez, you're down to 9. You know what I mean? there's 3 other receivers. They're going to cut you down to 6. So you're going to have to play with the 6-man box. In that sense, you now got to play and have an answer for quarterback run with B. Lou right now. So, that's been our success. But real life, we've been able to run the football, and that really goes to the guys up front.
You make it sound like it's just easy.
It's just an equation.
It's a given that we're scoring 100% in the red zone right now with all these weapons. But at the end of the day, you still got execution. And I think that's been phenomenal as you guys have been able to pull that off.
Absolutely.
Those are the 4 stats that I looked at, too. I don't care about total yards or anything else like that.
I don't mean that.
When you said there's 4 things we focus, they're going to be like third down percentage, all that stuff. But
that's what it is. All that stuff is directly related to wins and losses. You can go back. Turnover margin is, some stupid number, 80%. 80% of the time, the team who has the most turnovers loses. You know what I mean? It's pretty simple stuff when you really break it down. Now, it's hard to do. I get it. But it's pretty simple stuff when you really break down, what you need to do to win.
Yeah.
Agreed. You've had a lot of guys like these running receiver types that have come out of Memphis. Mm-hmm. That's something that's been around in college for a while. And now you're starting to see that bleed into the NFL. A lot more people are utilizing these guys that you can line up at a wide receiver position, put back in the backfield. Chicago just, Monday night was utilizing that with DJ Moore, who's a guy that traditionally has always played wide receiver. You got another one you mentioned him a little bit already with Greg. Considering that you've been around guys that are in the league doing it now, how does Greg compare to those guys?
Greg's skill set is equal to the guys that I've had the privilege of coaching who were able to go on to play at the next level. His athletic ability, his speed, his ball skills, all his physical traits match that. As well as I do that what separates those guys from each other is people's work ethic, and that's something that Greg has. Again, Greg I've known Greg since high school because he's a New England guy. So I've known of him and met him. I'm very close with his high school coach from up there in Massachusetts. So I've known him for a little bit. He went to UMass and he was a good player at UMass, but he wasn't winning. So that fire inside of him right now and the taste he got of what it tastes like to win continues to drive him on a daily basis. So he's got that same type of work ethic that B. Lou has, and he has that same type of motivation because he's been on the other end where, like B. Lou said to me, 2 weeks ago, he's like, Cramsey, this is weird because normally this time of year we're out of it already. I'm like, dude, it's week 4, man. Come on.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah. But so Greg has that skill set. Greg has that motivation. Greg has the intangibles it takes to play at that level. Now, as well as I do, to play at that level takes a lot of things to go right to get on a team and stay on a team and make it. But he's going to get a look, and that's why I tell these guys, as long as you get a look and get a shot and get into a camp, that's the most you can ask for. Then go do it yourself.
Yeah. You guys are nice and rested, but I don't think a lot of people know that this game against UAB, do you know what they call this, Sean? Battle for the Bones.
Battle for the Bones.
Battle for the bones, baby. Yes, that is what this. I love little weird things like that, and this game is actually a big deal between these two teams. But I'm curious, Coach, like with all of the news, we had so much chaos this last weekend, especially from a coaching carousel perspective, with the change in head coach and everything that's going on there. Does that change anything for you guys in how you prepare for this game, or is it just business as usual?
It's business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to be ready to adjust. So what we're treating it as is like the first game of the season. Mm-hmm. When you play against a guy who's had all spring ball and all summer to tweak or change what they do. I feel pretty confidently we're going to see because, Steve Russ is their DC. I don't think, and I've been told that Dilford didn't have a whole lot of say in what was going on, not to say, but he didn't stick his nose in what was going on defensively. Yeah. Steve is, he was a DC back in the day at Air Force, and then he was in the league for a little bit. It's his system that he ran. I'm expecting it. We're not changing. We had the chance to prepare for him prior to it going down this past weekend. We're continuing to prepare with the same stuff, and then we just got to be ready to adjust on Saturday if he shows up as something completely different. But I always say it doesn't make sense to chase ghosts and try and make up things that he might do. We got 6 games on him. The tricky thing this week is we have 6 games on him, but 2 of the games, one is Navy, one's Army, and they don't really do us any good studying offensively.
They
had a game against Tennessee, which was a little bit lopsided. And then against FAU jumped on it pretty quick too. So, there's a little sample of what we're studying on them, but we're expecting the same stuff that we see on film.
Typical coach, you're not talking about the Akron game, that's the one right there. You can figure out all the stuff about him.
Akron, Alabama State were good games for him, man.
Oh, that's so nice. I love that you mentioned New Hampshire. That's like one of my passion projects, and that's kind of what Coach Cramsey and I bonded over in the very beginning when I first met him. Is I love New Hampshire. I think it has the deepest coaching roots of any school. And I know that's like an odd thing to say, but there is such a thing as the New Hampshire Mafia. I asked Coach Mullen about it when I was in Vegas, and it is real. And I love that you're a part of it. But do you ever get to connect with those guys ever? Like, do you ever talk to Coach Kelly or, Mullen or Ryan Day or any of them?
I don't know. I don't know Coach Mullen that way, but
okay.
Ryan and me are very close. Ryan, me and Ryan played together. We never had coach together. We played together. I talk to Chip all the time. He's out in Las Vegas right now with my brothers. My brother's out there as well. So I talk to Chip. I talk to Chip a lot. And then the whole coaching crew there. I keep in touch with those guys. It goes
I wonder how Sean McDonald's enjoying retirement. Have you?
He's loving retirement.
Good.
Loving retirement. I get to talk to him. And he's a guy that built that. He's a guy that built that program. He's a guy that sent all these people that I won't go through all their names, but Chip Kelly, Ryan Day, Alex Grinch, Kevin Decker, the OC at Old Dominion right now. Joe Conlon is the head coach at Fordham. Ryan Carty is the head coach at Delaware. Randy Bates is the DC at Pitt right now. I could go on and on about the guys that coach there, all the way through. And that's all Sean McDonald. I can't say enough about that guy. He recruited me, he coached me when I was in college. He does it the right way. He taught every one of us how to do it the right way. And I'm not surprised by the success people have from watching him on a daily basis. So.
He's incredible. My goal is to meet him at some point. I want to write a book about him because I think he is one of the most, I've been trying to do this story forever, but one day I'll get it together and we'll.
You need to push it out of him because he's too humble to admit.
I know, I've heard that.
I just said he would get very mad at me if I said that,
We won't tell him. Can you tell Chip Kelly next time you talk to him to let Ashton Genty stand upright, because that is the way that he needs to play the running back position, and I will die on that hill.
There you go. Absolutely. I'll let him know.
Don't change his stance. Don't tell him I told you, because then he'll block me. But that's what we do. Speaking of Seth Hennigan, do you still speak to him much, and how is he adjusting to that life in the NFL?
Yeah, I do. I speak to him all the time, and he's enjoying it. He's learning how the business is up there. And it's it was tough on him at first because he's never. It's some stuff I'm going with the young guys in our quarterback room right now. But Seth has never not been QB1.
Right.
He started as a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
As a true freshman here. So he doesn't know what being a backup quarterback is since 7th grade when he sat behind his brother. I don't like a weird story of Seth. He played for his dad in high school. Mm-hmm. And his older brother was the starting quarterback who, when Seth became a freshman, Seth benched his older brother. So he played.
I didn't know that.
So I said to his dad, that must have been a tough night at dinner with Seth's mom, But that's something he's dealing with, which a lot of kids do when you get to the point of I've always been the man. Now I'm the third string guy and fourth string guy, and That's hard. I don't care who you are. That's hard to do, and you don't know any other way. So he's learning it though, and then he's going to work every day like you'd expect him to do.
That's awesome. It makes me happy to see that, because there's not a lot of guys like that anymore that have been QB1 or any position one for all the years they were in college at the same place. And you and I have talked about that. Like, we won't even get into the portal or any of that stuff, because it's just it's a non-starter for me. But I just think he's so unique, and it's great to see him, at the next level, making it work, doing what he has to do. So.
No, there's one thing we got to ask about the portal.
Okay. Well, I knew John was going to.
Isn't it so much better now, the new window? There's one window. There's not two. It's 2 weeks long, and then it's over. I mean, obviously you'll be recruiting guys well after that, but it's over. You can't enter outside of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could sit here and talk forever with people about it. What's the best way to do it? What's a better way to do it? Or you can just say, this is the way it's done. So how do we make it work best for us? And that's what we got to do. I think what this one window does, which some people are losing sight of, is it forces you to be right. And that's tough to do. You have 2 weeks to be right. I always say the difference with the portal recruiting and high school recruiting, the 26 quarterback that we have committed to us right now. I have known him since 2020 when I was back at the other place. So I've known him for that long. Guys in the portal, you're going to meet them and they're going to visit you. And within 72 hours, you got to make the decision on them. And you don't have that post-spring window now to say, all right, we made a mistake on that kid. Let's go get another kid. You got 2 weeks to get it right, because that's your team then, So it's good when you have your guys in, but during that 2 weeks in January, you better be on point. You better be on the right guys, because if you're not on the right guys, programs can turn real quick,
Yeah. There you go, John. Did you get it?
That's the first positive thing I've ever heard anybody say about the 2-window system. But you've got a great point, Coach.
Yeah.
That is a great point.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I got to end with, this was coming. I got to shout out Matt Adcock. We talked about him earlier, but I have to shout him out. I'm still upset that he's listed at tight end on the roster. It's just not fair, because we all know he's a fullback. Come on. But, you said he got his first touchdown. How excited was he?
He's a pretty laid back, chilled human being.
Okay.
I was expecting a little bit of a better celebration from him, but I think he was surprised that he got in. But I always say he comes to work every day. He doesn't say a word. He goes to work. He does the dirty work. Hard hat, lunch pail type guy. And it just started showing up. We have some tight ends who are more gifted. I'll call them fullbacks for you to help you out. But we have some guys who are more gifted, who are more talented. But like I said, it's just something when someone is always right. They're always in the right spot. They're going to go to work. They're going to, run back blocks over and over and over again. How many times you ask them to do it. And that pays off. I always say I'm a born Catholic, changed Christian guy. But I believe in the football gods, and the football gods watching. If you do right by the game, they're going to make sure you have success. On the other side, if you do wrong by the game, they're going to make sure you don't have success. But Matt's a guy who has earned the respect of everybody in this program, and does a great job. And I will still tell you, because I can tell him he's limited in some things, but what we ask him to do, he does damn well, really, really well. And I also tell him that if I'm ever walking through a dark alley, and he's a guy on the team I'm taking with me, and he's walking in front. Apparently
he's a good baseball player too, and he can drop some bombs on the home run. He's a home run hitter.
Really? Where'd you get that from? I didn't even know that. I got to ask him now.
Yeah, I do my due diligence, and I know everything about every fullback in college football. I could tell you. It's he's probably a little nervous now, but yes, he can. I think his batting average was 405, 6 home runs, 48 RBIs. So he can
You
hit.
think it sounds like you knew that right off the top.
I mean,
you said
no.
you think.
No, she had to look at it. She didn't remember.
Maybe it might be. I don't know. But I would love to see him in batting practice one day because I bet he.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to do that. We got to get him over to the baseball stadium. It's right across the parking lot.
And then we got to have him hit golf balls for the trifecta because I bet he's a power shot.
Just a gym rat type of guy, you know.
Yeah.
He could hit a baseball, hit a golf ball, do a hula hoop, whatever he's got.
That's why we love him. Shout out me. John, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, last question, Coach, because you had to bring up the football gods, and you mentioned that you're born Catholic, and so have you been able to pinpoint the football gods yet? Because I'm thinking Hallis, Lombardi, maybe Landry.
I don't know who they are. I just know that you talk very nice about them no matter what. And you do right by the game. You do right by the game at all times. And you live life. You live life the right way, man. As long as you live life the right way, things are going to be all right for you.
Amen.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. All right, last question. You said it was your birthday, and we talked a little bit about this, but what was it that Coach Silverfield got you for your big 5-0?
Oh, we got to see it now.
Here you go, guys. Here you go. All right. It's a sign. It lights up. It says all in, which is his mantra for his program.
Yeah.
I haven't plugged it in yet, but it lights up. I don't think my wife's going to let me put it anywhere in the house. So it's got to hang up somewhere in the office.
In the office, yeah. I love Silverfield is always on brand. He is always on brand. No matter what he's saying or where he is an on brand guy. I love that.
Nope. It's what he believes in. Again, you know, it's not a surprise that some success has happened at Memphis for, you know, he's been here for 10 years.
And also, wait, last question. You said we talked about, I'm going to see you on Halloween when y'all play Rice. We talked about Halloween costumes. Share with the people who your Halloween costume is. Yeah,
I'm going to dress up as Jordan Hankins. I'm going to get a goatee and a beard and everything. We get people confuse us when they look at us. We look like brothers, even though we're not brothers. And my actual brothers make fun of me because there was something on Twitter a long time ago where it said, you know, Coach Tim Cramsey, something or other, and it was a picture of Jordan. So we look alike, which is bad for him because I'm about 10 years older than him, but still works.
I don't think a lot of people know, but I mean, some people might not know, but Jordan Hankins is the DC at Memphis. And y'all have been friends. Y'all are very good friends, actually. So I think that's funny. So I said, well, if you're going to dress up as Jordan, then maybe I will too. And then we'll both show up dressed as Jordan Hankins in Houston. And that'll just be, you'll have to help me out with that costume, but
it'd be awesome. There you go.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Big week for you guys, big season for you guys, and we wish you all the success.
I appreciate it, man. It's always good talking, guys. Anytime you want me to have me on, just give me a call.
Absolutely.
I love it. He's my go-to. That's why I say it. All right. Well, for John Vogel, I'm Emily Van Buskirk. That was the amazing Tim Cramsey. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Sick Podcast Draft Digest. We will catch you on the next one.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Draft Digest on YouTube, X, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.